Hi, I'm Kate from Finanzdiva magazine. I'm here today with Kim Kiyosaki. She's a real estate investor, entrepreneur, founder of Rich Woman, and the author of several bestsellers. Your unique advice may change the way you look at your money. Thank you for joining us today, Kim.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You and your husband made it to the top. What's your number one success secret?
I don't know that there's one secret to success. It was funny because when Rich Dad Poor Dad came out, over time it became such a huge bestseller, which we were very surprised at. No one was more surprised than Robert and myself. But people said, "Oh, it was an overnight success." Well, no, was not an overnight success. So we had a previous business before this, teaching entrepreneurship. So a lot of Rich Dad Poor Dad is what we learned over those 10 to 20 years previously, speaking with people, our experience with people, that we put into a book. And a lot of people think Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Woman are books on finance, and they are on personal finance, but it's more of a philosophy, and it's more of a mindset, because anybody can do the how-tos, but to really get in there and do what it takes to become financially independent takes a mindset shift, because it's not, the concepts are easy, the concepts are simple. Let's say the concepts are simple, but the path isn't necessarily easy, but it is the most rewarding.
How did the Oprah show change your life?
Oprah was great. So Rich Dad Poor Dad by this time had already made the New York Times bestseller list, Wall Street Journal, had made a lot of the bestseller lists. And we had been, when we were just starting the Rich Dad company, I had Post-its all over the office, all over my house, that we are going to be on Oprah. And that was my goal, was to be on Oprah. And sure enough, we still don't know to this day exactly what tipped it to have them call and have Robert on the show. But they did the entire show on Rich Dad Poor Dad. They had testimonials of people who had followed the principles and the lessons and had become successful and financially independent. But Oprah is syndicated to 150 countries around the world. So when Robert went on Oprah, overnight he went to 150 countries. So it's like, if there's ever a fast track, there really is an Oprah effect. And it skyrocketed us globally at that point. And I'll say one other thing, Kate, when you talk about kind of a secret to success, I think this is a secret to any entrepreneur's success, is that the purpose of an entrepreneur is to solve a problem. And so the problem we saw was that there was no financial education in school systems around the world. So we took it upon ourselves to solve that problem and bring financial education to the world, and to do it inexpensively. So for a lot of entrepreneurs, to be successful is, what is the problem they are solving? And once you figure that out, then things become much easier. If the problem is just to put a little extra money in your pocket, when things get tough, you're going to quit, because that's not a big enough mission. So the mission of the Rich Dad Company is to elevate the financial well-being of humanity. It's a big mission. So when we have setbacks and we hit obstacles and we have big problems, that mission keeps us going. So for any entrepreneur I know who has been successful, they had a strong mission and they had a strong problem that they set out to solve.
You're the author of the first #1 female finance book in the history of the world. Into how many languages has your book, Rich Woman, been translated?
I'm not sure exactly. I think we're probably in about 10 languages all over the world. The reason I wrote Rich Woman is because Robert and I would travel the world speaking about the Rich Dad philosophy, and we also have the very first product actually we created was a CASHFLOW board game that teaches money and investing in a fun way. So we created the CASHFLOW game, and then Robert started working on a brochure, and lo and behold, the brochure became Rich Dad Poor Dad. So we would travel the world speaking about Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I could be in Munich, I could be in London, I could be in Johannesburg, I could be in Singapore. I would speak for a few minutes to the women. And I was always, at the end of my talks, I was always surrounded by women, and they had the same issues, same questions. And the more I dug into it, the statistics played out that more and more of us women, as we get older, due to divorce, due to death of a spouse, due to bad money management, as we get older, we find ourselves in a financial disaster. So I took it upon myself to actually reach out and just tell women what I did, because I am somebody that knew nothing. People said, oh, well, you had this and you had that. No, I knew nothing about money, nothing, much less about investing, nothing. So I really wanted to support women, educate women to take charge of their financial lives and not depend upon a husband, a family member, the government to take care of them. I think that's the whole gist behind our message, is if you want true freedom, you really have got to take charge of your financial life. Don't depend on the government to give you money. Don't depend upon the family to give you money, but you've got to take charge, especially for women. You got to take charge of your financial life. That will lead you to true freedom.
What's the biggest problem that hinders especially women building wealth?
I think the biggest issue is up here, is in our mind. We haven't, throughout history, women haven't been expected to know much about money, much less investing. That was always the man's job, right? And so not only have we not been taught about money, but we've actually been taught, many of us, to depend upon somebody else for our financial well-being, right? We've been taught is he a good provider? Is he going to take care of you? I heard a woman the other day, she was so upset because they had a major financial problem, and he came to her and said, I will always take care of you financially. And I'm like, why don't you take care of yourself? So I think this mindset of expecting somebody else to take care of us is one thing. The second thing I think that holds women back is that we think just because we haven't been brought up around money or knowing about money, we don't think we're smart when it comes to money. And so we always want to give that control over to somebody else. And I'm going to tell you, nobody's going to take better care or look after your money better than you will. No financial planner, no stock advisor, nobody will look after your money better than you. So really, if you really want to have that freedom as a woman, as an individual, then you've got to start doing your homework. You got to start learning, and don't blindly turn your money, which we work so hard for. We work so hard for our money, and to blindly turn it over to somebody else to hope and pray that they're going to take care of it for you. I think that's ridiculous.
Is it possible for a person who had no money to still make a fortune?
We had nothing. We had absolutely nothing. When we started the Rich Dad Company, well, even before, let's go before that. When I started investing back in 1989, which is many, many years ago, in a little town called Portland, Oregon, which now has been in the news quite a bit, but it was a little sleepy town back then. I didn't know anything about money. We had no money. We were starting a business. This is before the Rich Dad Company, and we had no money. And Robert started explaining what his rich dad had taught him about investing, and primarily real estate investing. And he said, okay, go out there and do it. And I'm like, do what? Do what? What am I supposed to do? So I go, just bumble along and looking at different properties. And sure enough, just blocks from the house we live in, I found this little 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. And it was, at the time, it was $89,000. It was $45,000. It was $45,000, and I had to come up with $5,000 down payment, of which we did not have. And so I'm going to tell you the secret, one of the secrets I've learned, and one of the things that has probably added to my where I am today, is not having the money is the best thing that ever happened to me. Because if I don't have the money, so I didn't have that $5,000, I had to get very, very creative and figure out how to come up with $5,000. So a lot of people say, oh, well, when I have the money, I'll start investing. When I have the money, I'll start my business. Well, you never have the money, because something always comes up. There's always something that's going to take that money from you. So instead I say, go find the property, go figure out the business you want to start. And once it becomes real to you and you can feel it and taste it and touch it, then you'll figure out how to get the money. But I never, ever, to this day, because our money is always invested. So if a good deal comes up, a good investment comes up, it's like, okay, I don't have the money now, but how am I going to find it? Because I want to get this deal done. So never, ever, ever, ever let the excuse, I don't have money, stop you. That's a lie. You're just lying to yourself at that point. You can always figure it out if you want it bad enough.
What's your best advice for someone who'd like to get rich?
I would say number one, start getting educated. Start getting educated, number one, because there's two things you can invest. You can invest time and you can invest money. So first you want to invest time in getting educated before you invest your money, because so many people invest their money on a hot tip and then they lose their money because they don't know what they're doing. So number one, get a little education. Number two, start small. Put a little money down. Don't bet the ranch. Bet a little money down, because you're going to make mistakes. And one of the keys that I've learned is, in school, we're taught not to make mistakes. If you make mistakes, you get an F. If you make mistakes, you get humiliated. If you make mistakes, you get reprimanded. The only way human beings are designed to learn are by making mistakes. So if you're never going to get wealthy if you're afraid of making mistakes, because that's how we learn, it's how we grow. So I always say, make more mistakes and make them faster. So that's why I say, start with a little money, because you're going to make mistakes, and you want to make mistakes with a little money versus a lot of money. It's one of the reasons why we created the CASHFLOW board game. And we have clubs all over the world, Kate. We have clubs in Germany, CASHFLOW clubs, where people get together and they play the game and learn from one another. But we use fake money, paper money, so people can learn with paper money, not real money. And then they go out in the real world with some knowledge, with some education, and then put a little money down. So for one example, I say to people, go out and buy a 1 ounce silver coin. Right? Go out and buy a 1 ounce silver coin. Today, it's probably going to cost you about $25 US. But what that does is you've put a little money down, you've got your silver coin, you go online, you look at the price of silver. Is it up? Is it down? Why is it up? Why is it down? What's happening in the world economy that's causing this? And you become so much smarter because you've put a little money down. So that's how I would start. That's how I started. That is how I started.
See, that's what we should be teaching at school. We've all been taught to be responsible and pay our bills, but not how to acquire wealth through investing in the stock market or building companies.
Exactly. It's exactly what the school system should be teaching you, but they never have it in their curriculum to do that. And I don't know that the school system wants people to be educated about money, to be honest. And that's why we went around the school system. We created the board game CASHFLOW. We created our books so that we could educate people outside the school system. But you're exactly right. It is what needs to be taught. There are some principals, there are some teachers, school principals, school teachers, homeschooling, charter schools that are bringing in the rich dad philosophy and educating people, their students with that information, which I'm thrilled about.
Thank you very much, Kim, for the interview.
Kate, I've enjoyed it a lot.
That was Money Talk with Kim Kiyosaki. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you liked this video. Give us a thumbs up if you want, and see you soon on Finanzdiva TV.